Imagine a man who, by all outward appearances, should have remained invisible, destined to live and die in the shadows of society. A man who night after night would toil in silence, carrying heavy buckets of water through the streets of Athens just to make ends meet. His hands, calloused and worn, spoke of a life of relentless labor, while his heart yearned for something more, a deeper understanding, a purpose beyond mere survival. This man was Cleanthes, a figure whose life began in obscurity but ended in the annals of philosophical greatness. Cleanthes' story is one of extraordinary resilience and unwavering dedication. He did not have the wealth of a nobleman or the brilliance of a prodigy. What he had was something far more powerful, the quiet determination to improve himself each day, no matter how small the step. It was this dedication, this relentless, consistent practice, that transformed him from a mere water carrier into the head of the Stoic school, the successor of the great Zeno of Citium. In a world that often celebrates overnight success and the allure of shortcuts, Cleanthes' life stands as a powerful reminder of a different kind of strength, the kind that comes from enduring the grind, day in and day out, with no guarantee of recognition or reward. It is the story of a man who did not seek greatness, but who became great through the simple, steadfast application of Stoic principles. This book delves into the life of Cleanthes, not just as a historical figure, but as a living example of how the consistent practice of Stoic virtues can lead to profound personal transformation. Through his journey, we will explore the power of perseverance, the importance of humility, and the impact of daily commitment to one's principles. Cleanthes did not become a philosopher overnight. He became one through years of dedicated practice, through failures and successes, through doubt and conviction. As you turn these pages, you will not only learn about the life of Cleanthes, but also discover how his example can inspire you to live a life of purpose and consistency. His story is a call to embrace the challenges before you, to commit to the daily practice of virtue, and to trust that, in time, your efforts will lead to something greater than you ever imagined. This is the legacy of Cleanthes, the power of consistent practice. And it is a legacy that you, too, can embody. Chapter 1. The Early Life of Cleanthes. From the dimly lit corners of Assos, a small town in ancient Asia Minor, a young man set out on a path that would eventually lead him to the heart of Athenian philosophy. But before the accolades, before the reverence of his peers, Cleanthes was just a common laborer, working tirelessly under the weight of water jars, his every step a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Cleanthes was born into a life of poverty, where each day presented a new challenge merely to survive. His father, a humble farmer, struggled to provide for his family, and Cleanthes, like many sons of the poor, learned early the value of hard work. From dawn until dusk, he labored alongside his father, tilling the unforgiving earth, his hands becoming as rough as the soil he turned. It was a life that to many seemed predestined, an existence bound by the cycles of the seasons, offering little hope for change or escape. Yet, within young Cleanthes burned a quiet but fierce desire for something more. While his hands worked the fields, his mind wandered to places beyond his immediate reach. He was fascinated by the world around him, curious about the forces that govern nature and the human condition. However, the constraints of his circumstances kept these thoughts suppressed, as survival always took precedence over intellectual pursuits. As he gre olher Cleanthes soch outweisco a living beyond thefar he moveco ashains the episankar os learning a philosophy bechere he fon chuck his lowly stackers prohide no easier path. To support himself, he took on the grueling job of a water carrier, delivering water to the homes and workshops of the city. It was a job that required both physical strength and endurance, as he hauled heavy jars through the bustling streets day after day. The work was exhausting, and the pay was meager, but it allowed him to stay in Athens, where his soul could be nourished by something far more valuable than gold: knowledge. In the great city of Athens, Cleanthes was surrounded by the echoes of Socrates, Plato, and other philosophical giants whose teachings had shaped the intellectual landscape of the ancient world. He began to attend lectures and debates, drawn particularly to the teachings of Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism. Zeno's philosophy resonated deeply with Cleanthes, who saw in Stoicism a reflection of his own life's struggles and aspirations. The Stoic principles of endurance, self-discipline, and rationality spoke to his soul, offering a framework through which he could make sense of the hardships he had endured and the life he wished to lead. Despite his grueling work schedule, Cleanthes dedicated himself to learning. He would spend his nights studying, using the money he earned during the day to buy scrolls and pay for access to lectures. Often, he would sit quietly at the back of the room, absorbing every word, his presence unnoticed by the more privileged students who surrounded him. Cleanthes' dedication did not go unnoticed for long, however. Zeno himself began to take note of the young man who, despite his humble appearance, displayed a remarkable intellect and an unshakable commitment to the study of philosophy. Cleanthes' early life in Athens was a period of intense struggle, but it was also a time of profound personal growth. His work as a water carrier, far from being a hindrance, became a crucible in which his character was forged. The physical labor, though exhausting, taught him discipline and endurance, while his studies nurtured his mind and spirit. He began to internalize the Stoic teachings, applying them to his own life with unwavering consistency. For Cleanthes, philosophy was not merely an intellectual exercise, it was a way of life, a daily practice that demanded both mental and physical rigor. The challenges Cleanthes faced were immense. He was often ridiculed by those who could not understand why a poor laborer would waste his time on philosophy. But Cleanthes remained undeterred. He knew that true wisdom was not a matter of wealth or social status, but of the mind and heart. He embraced the Stoic belief that virtue was the only true good, and that everything else, wealth, fame, comfort, was secondary. With this mindset, Cleanthes continued to push forward, guided by the principles of Stoicism that would soon come to define his life. As the years passed, Cleanthes' consistent practice began to bear fruit. His understanding of Stoic philosophy deepened, and his reputation as a thoughtful and serious student grew. He earned the respect of Zeno and other leading philosophers who saw in him the potential for greatness. But for Cleanthes, the journey had just begun. His early life had taught him the value of persistence, and he knew that his true test lay not in the recognition of others, but in the quiet, daily application of the principles he had come to cherish. Cleanthes' story is a testament to the power of consistent practice. It shows us that greatness is not achieved overnight, but is built slowly, through the accumulation of small, deliberate actions taken every day. His early life, filled with hardship and toil, was the foundation upon which he would build his future. It was in these humble beginnings that Cleanthes learned the lessons that would guide him for the rest of his life. That true strength lies in endurance, that wisdom is earned through experience, and that the path to greatness is paved with consistent, unwavering effort. Chapter 2. The Journey of Consistent Practice. Cleanthes' life was a testament to the power of perseverance. Long after the world had turned its back on him, he remained steadfast, his spirit unbroken, his resolve unshaken. The road from being a humble water carrier to a respected philosopher was neither straight nor easy. It was a journey marked by countless small victories and relentless challenges, each testing his commitment to the Stoic principles he held so dear. But through it all, Cleanthes never faltered, practicing each day the virtues that would eventually lead him to greatness. Every morning before the sun rose over Athens, Cleanthes would begin his day with the same routine. He would rise from his modest bed, the stiffness in his limbs a reminder of the labor that awaited him. The city was still, the silence broken only by the distant sounds of the earliest risers. This was the time when Cleanthes found his quiet strength, gathering his thoughts before the demands of the day took hold. He would recite the teachings of Zeno, grounding himself in the principles that had become the foundation of his life: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. As he shouldered his yoke and lifted the heavy water jars, Cleanthes found a meditative rhythm in his work. Each step was deliberate, each breath a reminder of the endurance he was cultivating. The physical demands of his labor were not separate from his philosophical practice. They were integral to it. In every weight he lifted, in every step he took, Cleanthes saw an opportunity to embody the Stoic virtues. His work, though grueling, became a form of training, a daily exercise in patience, resilience, and humility. But it wasn't only physical endurance that Cleanthes cultivated. The mental fortitude required to endure such a life day after day was immense. Athens, with its grandeur and intellectual vibrancy, was also a city of stark contrasts. While the elite discussed philosophy in grand halls, Cleanthes carried water through narrow, dusty streets. He was often met with disdain by those who saw him as little more than a laborer, unworthy of their attention or respect. The ridicule he faced from his peers could have easily driven him to bitterness or despair. But Cleanthes chose a different path. He viewed these slights as tests of his character, opportunities to practice indifference to external opinions, a key tenet of Stoicism. Despite the challenges, Cleanthes' commitment to his studies never wavered. After long days of work, when most would seek rest, he sought wisdom. He spent his evenings attending Zeno's lectures, sitting quietly among students who were far more privileged, yet no more determined than he. His presence in these circles was a curiosity to some, a source of amusement to others. But Cleanthes was undeterred. His goal was not to impress, but to learn, to absorb every word of the teachings that resonated so deeply with him. Zeno, recognizing the sincerity and depth of Cleanthes' commitment, took him under his wing. Cleanthes' consistent practice had not only strengthened his character, but had also sharpened his intellect. He became a devoted follower of Zeno, studying the Stoic texts with a level of dedication that surpassed many of his peers. Cleanthes was not driven by the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. He sought to internalize the teachings, to live them in every aspect of his life. This period of Cleanthes' life was marked by a gradual transformation. The lessons he learned from Zeno were not abstract concepts, but practical guides for living. He began to see every challenge as an opportunity to apply Stoic principles, to practice virtue in action. When faced with difficulties, he would remind himself of the Stoic belief that it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This understanding became his shield against adversity, allowing him to maintain his composure and focus even in the most trying of circumstances. As Cleanthes' understanding of Stoicism deepened, so did his reputation among the philosophical community in Athens. He was no longer seen merely as a water carrier, but as a serious student of philosophy, a man whose life was a living embodiment of the principles he studied. His persistence had earned him the respect of his peers and the admiration of his teachers. Yet for Cleanthes, these external recognitions were secondary. What mattered most to him was his internal progress, the daily refinement of his character through consistent practice. Cleanthes' journey was not without its moments of doubt. There were times when the weight of his responsibilities seemed too great, when the path he had chosen appeared too difficult to sustain. But in these moments he would return to the core teachings of Stoicism, reminding himself that true strength comes from within. He would reflect on the words of Zeno and the examples of those who had gone before him, finding in their wisdom the encouragement to continue. The years of rigorous practice, of combining physical labor with intellectual pursuit, began to bear fruit. Cleanthes' thoughts matured. His understanding of Stoicism became more nuanced, and his ability to teach others grew. The hardships he endured had not hardened him, but had instead cultivated a deep sense of compassion and understanding. He became known not only for his wisdom, but also for his humility and kindness, traits that were as much a part of his philosophy as they were of his character. Cleanthes' story during these formative years serves as a powerful reminder that greatness is not achieved through a single act of brilliance, but through the steady accumulation of small, consistent efforts. It was his daily practice, his unwavering commitment to living in accordance with Stoic principles, that transformed him from a laborer into a philosopher. Each day, Cleanthes built upon the last, each action a step toward his ultimate goal of embodying the virtues he so admired. As Cleanthes' journey of consistent practice continued, he moved closer to his destiny, a destiny not determined by the circumstances of his birth, but by the strength of his character. The path was long and often difficult, but with each challenge, Cleanthes grew stronger, more resolute in his pursuit of wisdom and virtue. It was this relentless dedication to the Stoic way of life that would eventually elevate him to a position of leadership within the philosophical community of Athens, where his influence would be felt for generations to come. Chapter 3. Cleanthes' rise in the Stoic school. Cleanthes' journey from a humble laborer to a respected philosopher was marked by a quiet determination that caught the attention of his peers and teachers alike. As he continued to immerse himself in the study of Stoicism, his unwavering commitment began to distinguish him from the other students. Cleanthes' life was a testament to the power of perseverance, but it was also a lesson in how consistency and dedication can gradually transform one's standing within a community. In the early days of his studies, Cleanthes was just another face in the crowd, attending lectures given by the esteemed Zeno of Citium. Zeno's teachings were profound, offering a path to inner peace and moral clarity that resonated deeply with Cleanthes. While other students might have sought to impress Zeno with their wit or their rhetorical skills, Cleanthes understood that the true value of philosophy lay not in debate, but in practice. He knew that wisdom was not something to be paraded, but something to be lived. It was this understanding that set Cleanthes apart. Zeno, a keen observer of character, began to notice the young man who always sat quietly at the back of the room, never seeking attention, but always listening intently. Cleanthes' humility, his willingness to learn, and his steadfastness in applying Stoic principles in his daily life did not go unnoticed. While other students might falter or be swayed by the temptations of wealth or fame, Cleanthes remained steadfast in his pursuit of virtue. He was, in many ways, the embodiment of the Stoic ideal, a man who sought to live in accordance with nature, guided by reason, and indifferent to the external trappings of success. As time went on, Zeno began to see in Cleanthes the qualities of a true Stoic philosopher. Unlike others who might have been more naturally gifted, or who came from wealthier backgrounds, Cleanthes' virtues were earned through hard work and discipline. Zeno recognized that Cleanthes had something that many others lacked: a deep, unwavering commitment to Stoicism, grounded in lived experience. This commitment was evident not only in his philosophical understanding, but in the way he carried himself, in the quiet dignity with which he approached every aspect of his life. It was this recognition that led Zeno to take Cleanthes under his wing, offering him guidance and support as he continued his studies. Cleanthes' rise within the Stoic school was not sudden or dramatic. It was a gradual process, the result of years of consistent effort and dedication. Zeno began to involve Cleanthes more deeply in the workings of the school, entrusting him with greater responsibilities and encouraging him to develop his own interpretations of Stoic doctrine. Cleanthes did not disappoint. His understanding of Stoic philosophy deepened, and he began to make significant contributions to the school's teachings. He wrote extensively on various aspects of Stoicism, focusing particularly on ethics and the relationship between humans and the natural world. His writings were characterized by their clarity, practicality, and depth, reflecting his belief that philosophy should be a guide for living rather than merely an intellectual exercise. One of Cleanthes' most significant contributions to Stoicism was his development of the concept of the logos, the rational principle that pervades the universe and guides all things. Cleanthes argued that living in accordance with the logos was the key to achieving eudaimonia, or a flourishing life. This idea would become a cornerstone of Stoic thought, influencing not only Cleanthes' contemporaries, but also later Stoics like Chrysippus, who would go on to expand and refine these concepts further. As Cleanthes' influence within the Stoic school grew, so did his reputation outside of it. His consistent practice of Stoic virtues had earned him the respect of not only his fellow students, but also of the broader Athenian community. People began to seek him out for advice and guidance, recognizing in him a man who lived his philosophy, who practiced what he preached. Cleanthes became known for his wisdom, his patience, and his ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity. His reputation as a philosopher who truly embodied the principles of Stoicism continued to grow. When Zeno passed away, there was no question as to who would succeed him as the head of the Stoic school. Cleanthes, with his years of dedicated study, his deep understanding of Stoic principles, and his unwavering commitment to living a virtuous life, was the natural choice. His ascension to this position was not just a personal achievement, but a validation of the Stoic belief that true greatness is earned through consistent practice and dedication. As the leader of the Stoic school, Cleanthes continued to build on the foundation laid by Zeno, teaching and mentoring the next generation of Stoic philosophers. He remained true to his principles, emphasizing the importance of living in accordance with nature, of practicing virtue in every aspect of life, and of maintaining equanimity in the face of life's challenges. Under his guidance, the Stoic school flourished, attracting students from all over the Greek world who came to learn from the man who had risen from such humble beginnings to become one of the most respected philosophers of his time. Cleanthes' rise within the Stoic school was not the result of extraordinary talent or divine favor. It was the result of a life lived with purpose, of daily practice and unwavering commitment to the principles he believed in. His story is a powerful reminder that true greatness is not about where you start, but about how you live. Cleanthes did not seek out leadership or recognition. They came to him as a natural consequence of his dedication to living a life of virtue. His journey from a water carrier to the head of the Stoic school is a testament to the power of consistent practice and the belief that, with perseverance and commitment, anyone can achieve greatness. Chapter 4. The Law of Attraction in Stoicism. Cleanthes' life is a profound example of how the universe seems to conspire in favor of those who align their actions with their highest values and principles. His rise from obscurity to prominence in the Stoic school illustrates a fundamental truth that transcends time. The consistent practice of virtue and the unwavering focus on living in harmony with one's principles can attract the very outcomes one desires. In modern terms, this idea is often referred to as the law of attraction. But in the Stoic framework, this concept is far deeper, more nuanced, and intricately tied to the philosophy of living in accordance with nature. To understand how Cleanthes embodied what we might call the Stoic version of the law of attraction, it's essential to first grasp how the Stoics viewed the universe. At the heart of Stoicism is the belief in the logos, a rational, divine principle that orders the cosmos. The Stoics taught that everything in the universe is interconnected and governed by this logos, which ensures that all events unfold according to a rational plan. For a Stoic, living a good life means living in accordance with this natural order, embracing what happens with acceptance and understanding. Cleanthes, through his consistent practice of Stoic virtues, effectively aligned himself with this cosmic order. He understood that to live virtuously was to live in harmony with the Logos, and that by doing so, he was naturally attuning himself to the flow of the universe. This alignment did not mean that Cleanthes could control what happened to him. Rather, it meant that he could control his reactions and live in a way that was conducive to the natural order. In this sense, the attraction Cleanthes experienced was not the result of wishing or thinking positive thoughts, but of acting consistently in a manner that was congruent with the principles of Stoicism. The modern interpretation of the law of attraction suggests that by focusing on positive thoughts and desires, individuals can attract positive outcomes into their lives. This concept has gained widespread popularity, particularly in self-help circles, where it is often presented as a way to manifest success, wealth, and happiness. However, Stoicism offers a more profound approach. While the law of attraction emphasizes the power of thought, Stoicism emphasizes the power of action, consistent, virtuous action. Cleanthes demonstrated that by focusing not on the outcome, but on the process, by committing to the daily practice of virtue regardless of external circumstances, one can attract the kind of life that is worth living. For Cleanthes, this meant embracing his role as a water carrier with the same level of dignity and dedication as he did his role as a philosopher. He did not seek fame or recognition, but he attracted them through his unwavering commitment to living according to Stoic principles. This approach is deeply rooted in the Stoic idea that external events are beyond our control, but our responses to them are within our power. Cleanthes' life exemplified this principle. He did not attempt to change the world around him to suit his desires. Instead, he changed himself to align with the world as it was. This internal alignment, this harmony between his actions and the natural order, naturally led to positive outcomes, including the respect of his peers and his eventual leadership of the Stoic school. Moreover, Cleanthes' consistent practice of Stoicism attracted not just external success, but also inner peace and resilience. By focusing on what he could control, his thoughts, actions, and attitudes, he developed an inner strength that allowed him to face adversity with calmness and clarity. This inner tranquility, so highly valued by the Stoics, is perhaps the most significant attraction that Cleanthes experienced. It was the result of years of disciplined practice, of choosing to live in accordance with his values every day, no matter the external circumstances. In comparing the Stoic approach to the law of attraction with modern interpretations, it's important to note a key difference. Stoicism does not promise material success or external rewards as a result of virtuous living. Instead, it offers something far more valuable: a life of meaning, purpose, and inner contentment. For Cleanthes, the rewards of his consistent practice were not just the external achievements, but the development of a character that was resilient, wise, and aligned with the natural order of the universe. Cleanthes' life teaches us that the power of attraction lies not in what we seek to gain, but in how we choose to live. By consistently practicing Stoic virtues, by focusing on wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we naturally align ourselves with the flow of the universe and in doing so, attract a life that is in harmony with the Logos. This is not about manifesting material wealth or superficial success, but about cultivating a life that is deeply fulfilling and grounded in virtue. As we reflect on Cleanthes' journey, it becomes clear that the real law of attraction in Stoicism is about becoming the kind of person who naturally draws positive outcomes through virtuous living. It is about understanding that the universe operates according to rational principles, and that by living in accordance with these principles, we can achieve a state of inner peace and fulfillment. Cleanthes' life is a powerful example of how this alignment can lead to not only external success, but also a profound sense of purpose and contentment. In the end, Cleanthes attracted greatness not because he sought it, but because he consistently practiced the virtues that led to it. His story reminds us that the true power of attraction lies in our daily actions, in our commitment to living a life of integrity and purpose. By following Cleanthes' example, we too can attract a life that is not only successful but also deeply meaningful, aligned with the highest principles of Stoic philosophy. Chapter 5. Lessons from Cleanthes' life. Cleanthes' journey from obscurity to philosophical prominence is not just a tale of personal achievement, it is a blueprint for how to live a life of virtue, resilience, and purpose. His life offers timeless lessons that resonate with anyone striving to navigate the challenges of existence while remaining true to their principles. Cleanthes' story is a powerful reminder that greatness is not a matter of destiny, but of choice, of the choices we make every day to live in accordance with our values, regardless of the circumstances. One of the most profound lessons from Cleanthes' life is the importance of perseverance. In a world where immediate results and instant gratification are often prized above all else, Cleanthes exemplifies the power of steady, consistent effort. His journey was marked by countless moments where giving up might have seemed easier, moments of physical exhaustion from his labor as a water carrier, moments of doubt when faced with the intellectual challenges of Stoic philosophy, and moments of discouragement in the face of societal ridicule. Yet Cleanthes persisted. He understood that true progress is not measured in days or even years, but in a lifetime of dedication to one's principles. Perseverance for Cleanthes was not simply about enduring hardship. It was about embracing it as a necessary part of the path to virtue. The Stoics taught that obstacles are not just inevitable, but essential. They are the very things that shape our character and allow us to grow. Cleanthes lived this truth. He did not shy away from difficulty. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to practice the Stoic virtues of courage, temperance, and wisdom. Each challenge he faced became a stepping stone on his journey, not a barrier to his progress. Another crucial lesson from Cleanthes' life is the transformative power of humility. In a society that often equates success with status and power, Cleanthes chose a different path. He did not seek recognition or acclaim, but instead focused on becoming the best version of himself. His humility allowed him to remain open to learning, to acknowledge his limitations, and to approach his studies and his work with a sense of reverence and dedication. This humility was not a sign of weakness, but of strength, a strength rooted in the understanding that true wisdom comes from recognizing what we do not know and remaining committed to lifelong learning. Cleanthes also demonstrated the importance of living a life of purpose. For him, philosophy was not an abstract exercise, but a guide for living. He understood that the ultimate goal of Stoicism was eudaimonia, flourishing through virtuous living. Cleanthes' purpose was not defined by external success or material wealth, but by his commitment to living in accordance with nature and the principles of Stoic philosophy. This sense of purpose gave his life direction and meaning, allowing him to navigate the ups and downs of life with equanimity and grace. In today's world, where the pursuit of external goals often overshadows the cultivation of inner virtue, Cleanthes' example is more relevant than ever. He teaches us that a life of purpose is not about accumulating wealth or power, but about aligning our actions with our deepest values. It is about finding meaning in the process, not just in the outcome. Cleanthes' life shows us that when we commit to living with purpose, we create a foundation of strength and resilience that can withstand the inevitable challenges of life. Cleanthes' story also highlights the significance of community and mentorship in the journey of personal growth. His relationship with Zeno of Citium was instrumental in his development as a philosopher. Zeno recognized Cleanthes' potential and provided him with the guidance and support he needed to flourish. This mentorship was a key factor in Cleanthes' success, and it serves as a reminder of the importance of seeking out and valuing the wisdom of others on our own journeys. Just as Cleanthes learned from Zeno, we too can benefit from the knowledge and experience of those who have walked the path before us. At the same time, Cleanthes' rise to leadership within the Stoic school illustrates the importance of being a mentor to others. His willingness to share his knowledge and to guide the next generation of Stoics was a testament to his commitment to the greater good. Cleanthes understood that true wisdom is not something to be hoarded, but something to be shared. His life challenges us to consider how we can support and uplift others on their journeys, recognizing that the impact of our actions extends far beyond our own lives. Practical application of Cleanthes' lessons begins with the understanding that change does not happen overnight. It requires daily practice, reflection, and commitment. To follow in Cleanthes' footsteps, one must start by identifying the virtues and principles that are most important, and then committing to embodying them in everyday life. This might involve setting aside time each day for reflection, practicing mindfulness to stay present and aligned with one's values, and developing the resilience to face challenges with grace and strength. Additionally, embracing the idea that obstacles are opportunities can transform the way we approach difficulties. Instead of seeing challenges as setbacks, we can view them as essential parts of our growth, just as Cleanthes did. This shift in perspective can empower us to tackle life's challenges with a sense of purpose and determination, knowing that each obstacle is a chance to practice and deepen our virtues. Building a Stoic mindset also involves cultivating humility and remaining open to learning. Just as Cleanthes was a lifelong student of philosophy, we too can commit to ongoing personal development. This might involve seeking out mentors, engaging with philosophical or spiritual teachings, and being willing to learn from our mistakes. Humility allows us to grow by keeping us grounded and aware of our limitations, while also inspiring us to strive for improvement. Finally, Cleanthes' life teaches us the importance of consistency. Greatness is not achieved through sporadic bursts of effort, but through steady, sustained practice. Whether it's in the pursuit of personal goals, the cultivation of virtues, or the commitment to living a life of purpose, consistency is key. By making a daily commitment to live according to our principles, we can create lasting change in our lives and in the world around us. In conclusion, Cleanthes' life is a powerful example of how consistent practice, humility, perseverance, and purpose can transform not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. His journey from laborer to philosopher shows that true greatness is within reach for anyone who is willing to commit to the daily practice of virtue. By applying the lessons from Cleanthes' life, we too can live a life of meaning, purpose, and resilience, aligned with the highest principles of Stoic philosophy. Chapter 6. The Legacy of Cleanthes. The life and teachings of Cleanthes left an indelible mark on the world of Stoic philosophy, a legacy that has endured for centuries. As we reflect on his journey, it becomes clear that Cleanthes' influence extends far beyond his own lifetime, shaping not only the Stoic school, but also the broader philosophical landscape. His legacy is not merely a historical footnote, but a living testament to the enduring power of consistent practice, humility, and the pursuit of virtue. Cleanthes' influence on the Stoic school is perhaps most evident in his role as a mentor and teacher to Chrysippus, who would go on to become one of the most important figures in Stoicism. Chrysippus, often credited with systematizing and expanding Stoic philosophy, was profoundly influenced by Cleanthes' teachings and character. It was Cleanthes who laid the groundwork for Chrysippus's philosophical development, providing him with the intellectual and moral foundation upon which Stoicism would continue to grow. Through Chrysippus, Cleanthes' ideas were preserved and propagated, ensuring that his contributions to Stoicism would not be forgotten. Cleanthes' emphasis on the logos and the importance of living in accordance with nature became central themes in Chrysippus's work, solidifying these concepts as core tenets of Stoic philosophy. The intellectual lineage that began with Zeno and was carried forward by Cleanthes ultimately culminated in the mature Stoicism of Chrysippus, whose writings and teachings would influence generations of philosophers, both in the ancient world and beyond. But Cleanthes' legacy is not limited to his influence on Chrysippus. His own writings, though not as extensively preserved as those of his successors, had a significant impact on the development of Stoic thought. Cleanthes was known for his work on ethics, particularly his exploration of the relationship between human beings and the natural world. His teachings emphasized the idea that virtue is the highest good, and that living virtuously requires aligning oneself with the natural order of the universe. This idea, which was central to Stoic philosophy, would continue to resonate through the ages, influencing not only later Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, but also countless others who sought to live in accordance with reason and nature. Cleanthes' legacy also extends beyond the realm of philosophy. His life story, marked by perseverance, humility, and dedication, has served as an inspiration to countless individuals seeking to navigate the challenges of their own lives. The story of a man who rose from the most humble of beginnings to become a revered philosopher resonates deeply with anyone who has ever faced adversity or struggled to find their place in the world. Cleanthes' example shows that greatness is not determined by one's circumstances, but by one's character and commitment to living a life of virtue. In the centuries that followed his death, Cleanthes' influence continued to be felt in various ways. His life and teachings were referenced by later philosophers and historians who recognized the significance of his contributions to Stoicism. The principles he lived by, consistency, humility, perseverance, and a deep commitment to living in accordance with nature, became guiding lights for those who sought to follow the Stoic path. Even today, Cleanthes' life serves as a powerful reminder of what is possible when one dedicates themselves fully to the practice of virtue. Modern reflections on Cleanthes often focus on the timeless nature of his teachings. In a world that is increasingly fast-paced and driven by superficial success, the lessons of Cleanthes offer a counterpoint to the pressures of modern life. His emphasis on the importance of daily practice, on the value of humility and perseverance, and on the need to live in harmony with the natural world are as relevant today as they were in ancient Athens. Cleanthes' life encourages us to look beyond the immediate and the material, to focus instead on the cultivation of character and the pursuit of a life that is meaningful and aligned with our deepest values. As we consider Cleanthes' legacy, it is also important to recognize the broader impact of Stoicism in the modern world. The Stoic philosophy that Cleanthes helped to shape has experienced a resurgence in recent years, as people from all walks of life seek practical wisdom to help them navigate the complexities of modern existence. From business leaders to athletes, from educators to students, individuals across the globe are turning to Stoicism as a source of guidance and strength. The principles that Cleanthes lived by, principles of self-discipline, resilience, and virtuous living, are being rediscovered and applied in new and innovative ways. Cleanthes' legacy, then, is not just one of philosophical achievement. It is a living, breathing tradition that continues to inspire and guide people today. His life story serves as a reminder that the pursuit of virtue is not an abstract ideal, but a practical way of living that can bring meaning and fulfillment to our lives. By following Cleanthes' example, by committing ourselves to the daily practice of Stoic principles, we too can create a legacy that endures, one that is grounded in wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In conclusion, Cleanthes' legacy is a testament to the enduring power of Stoicism and the profound impact that a life of consistent practice can have. His journey from laborer to philosopher, from student to teacher, is a story of transformation that continues to resonate across the centuries. Cleanthes' life reminds us that true greatness is not about external success or recognition, but about the inner strength and resilience that come from living in accordance with our highest values. As we carry forward the lessons of Cleanthes, we do so with the understanding that the principles he lived by are timeless, offering a path to a life of purpose, fulfillment, and lasting impact. Conclusion. Cleanthes' life is a remarkable testament to the transformative power of consistent practice, humility, and unwavering commitment to virtue. His journey from an unassuming water carrier to the head of the Stoic school exemplifies the essence of Stoic philosophy. That true greatness is not found in external accolades or material success, but in the quiet, persistent effort to live in accordance with nature and reason. As we reflect on the lessons from Cleanthes' life, we are reminded that the path to a meaningful and fulfilling existence is not paved with shortcuts or quick fixes. It is a path that requires daily dedication, the cultivation of inner strength, and a steadfast focus on the principles that guide us. Cleanthes did not seek out fame or recognition. They came as a natural consequence of his devotion to living a life of virtue. His story teaches us that it is not our circumstances that define us, but the choices we make in response to those circumstances, the choice to persevere, to learn, to grow, and to remain true to our values, no matter the challenges we face. Cleanthes' legacy is a beacon of hope for those who may feel overwhelmed by the demands of life or uncertain about their place in the world. His life shows that anyone, regardless of their starting point, can achieve greatness through the consistent practice of virtue. It is a reminder that the most profound changes often come not through dramatic transformations, but through the steady accumulation of small, deliberate actions taken each day. Cleanthes understood that true wisdom and strength are built over time, through the disciplined practice of Stoic principles. In a world that often prioritizes speed and convenience, Cleanthes' life offers a powerful counterpoint. He shows us the value of patience, of embracing the slow and steady process of growth, and of trusting that, over time, our efforts will bear fruit. His life encourages us to focus on the process rather than the outcome, to find meaning in the journey rather than in the destination. Cleanthes' example is a call to action for each of us to commit to our own daily practice, to cultivate the virtues that will guide us through life's challenges, and to live in a way that is true to our highest ideals. As you close this book, take with you the lessons from Cleanthes' life. Let his story inspire you to embrace the power of consistent practice, to persevere in the face of adversity, and to remain humble and open to learning. Remember that greatness is not a matter of where you start, but of how you choose to live each day. By following in the footsteps of Cleanthes, by committing to the daily practice of virtue, you too can create a life that is not only successful, but deeply fulfilling. A life that leaves a lasting impact on the world around you. In the end, the legacy of Cleanthes is not just about the ideas he taught or the students he influenced. It is about the example he set for all of us. a life lived with purpose, integrity, and unwavering commitment to the Stoic ideals of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. His story is a reminder that the power to shape our lives lies within us, in the choices we make each day to live in accordance with our values. As you go forward, may you carry with you the spirit of Cleanthes, and may his example guide you on your own journey toward a life of virtue and lasting fulfillment.